Hello bright stars, welcome on in. It's me, Dahlia Starbright, the fallen celestial cozy chaos catgirl, and today we are checking out CEO Sim Cyberpunk. Thank you to Keymailer for the free copy of the game. As CEO of a cyberpunk corporation, lead your company through crisis, corporate wars, and boardroom pressure in this turn-based economic strategy game. Study reports and manage departments, and make long-term decisions that shape the future. Let's check it out! Oh, that's like the audio version of a flashbang. I'm sure I'll be fine. Third and Fourth World Wars left Tampa and Miami knotted together into a serpentine metropolis that would henceforth be known by another name. It's the perfect place to build an enterprise. Countless niches remain unfilled, and the administrative chaos can be used to cover up any shady operations. The previous CEO of our corporation couldn't handle this task. Hardly surprising. This city is tearing itself apart with internal strife. After just a few days here, the news cycle is already predictable. Something's bombed, something's stolen, vultures are circling a mid-tier corporate carcass. Vultures, the Coven and the Syndicate are coalitions of major corporations that have divided most of the former states between themselves, but not Core City. The Coven are the cold-blooded heirs of the old corporations that ruled the world before the Great Divide. The Syndicate, a band of young upstarts, unafraid to act brazenly in the open. Sooner or later, the tensions between the Coven and the Syndicate in Core City will boil over, and when they do, our corporation will be caught right in the blast radius. Our company creates virtual worlds and shapes the lives of hundreds of thousands of people. Thousands of employees work at Virtual Dreams. Developers and researchers from R&D, specialists in digital and physical security, HR and marketing experts, a whole army of financiers. It's a complex organism. Let's hope the previous CEO brings me up to speed, especially since I'll have to deal with the company's catastrophic losses. The old CEO skipping town with a nasty smirk as he bails from the sinking ship. Well, let's hope the rest of the staff at Virtual Dreams are more competent than he was. That tries to dispense wise counsel, yet he is the one to blame for the company's current state. Perhaps we'd be better off heeding his advisor, Joanna. Naturally, all the problems are mine to solve now. And when things go south, I'll be the one they throw to the wolves. Hello and welcome to Virtual Dreams. My name is Joanna, I'm your personal assistant, and I'll help you navigate the corporate management system. Virtual Dreams is managed using the HAME, the holographic interface for top management. Wouldn't that be HITM? Initiatives affect metrics to varying degrees. The scales show the strength and direction, upward or downward, of the initiative's impact on the department's metrics. While the initiative is disabled, arrows pointing left decrease or right increase are displayed instead of the scale. Now let's enable the initiative. I'll click next. You can change the initiative value by moving the slider. Initiative is currently disabled. Enable it by moving the slider to the right and clicking Apply. Using initiative requires action points. Points are replenished every turn. Click on the metric Development Velocity. Metrics have a numerical value that cannot fall below 1 or exceed 100. This value is influenced by initiatives and other metrics within the department. The symbol next to the value shows how the metric has changed compared to the previous turn, whether it has decreased, increased, or remained the same. Number 065994 metric can influence other standard metrics within the department, as well as key performance indicators, KPI. The strength of a metric's influence depends on its value. The influence can be either negative or positive. If an indicator receives more influence than it can handle, this excess influence will spread to all indicators with which it is linked. Some metrics are negative. Their names are marked with an X. Negative metrics differ from standard ones in that they have a negative impact on KPI. In other words, the higher the negative metric is, the more it will reduce the KPI. If you hover the cursor over any indicator, you will see the associated indicators and initiatives highlighted. If the selected indicator affects another, the elements inside that indicator effects are highlighted. I see. Conversely, if another indicator affects the selected one, the elements around that other indicator are highlighted. Hover your mouse over the various metrics. You'll quickly understand how the relationships between them are displayed. Oh, I thought we were just focusing on this. You have just taken up your post, and many employees feel inspired and hopeful for the better. The manager is too inexperienced. Under their leadership, all processes in the department become much more labor-intensive. Oh, the initiative's cost is increased by 1. Okay. Done again. Good morning, CEO. Remaining 26 weeks. The finance department refuses to admit anything is wrong. Honestly, that's nothing new. Our budget is shrinking. Yeah, we're in negatives. Have a productive week. Oh, okay, have a productive week. Good morning, CEO. Today we'll finish exploring how metrics work. Please navigate to the hub operational stability metric in the R&D department. Key performance indicators cannot be directly influenced by initiatives. They are only affected by standard metrics from the corresponding department. Calculating the efficiency of how metrics influence each other is one of the CEO's key tasks. The numerical value of key performance indicators is converted into a grade and effectiveness rating for that KPI. There are 5 grades, A, B, C, D, and E. The range between each grade is 100 units. The specific KPI. Please navigate to the financial metrics screen. Each financial metric has multiple profitability tiers. These tiers are determined by the grades of all connected KPIs and their relative importance or weight. Unfortunately, the previous CEO left no guidance regarding KPI weights, so determining them is one of your key challenges. To summarize, high grades from connected KPIs increases profit from financial metrics. Low grades decrease it. Income is calculated at the start of each turn. It's the sum of all financial metrics. Well, we've covered the fundamentals of corporate management. The key is to think several steps ahead. While profit from metrics will only materialize over time, expenses will increase immediately. But there's more. While managing the corporation, unexpected events will constantly arise. As CEO, you'll need to make decisions in emergency situations and deal with the consequences. Each event contains a list of possible decisions you can choose from. After selecting, the consequences for the company will be displayed, and you'll be able to close the event window. The number of active events in each department is shown next to its icon via a yellow counter. Important, you cannot end the current turn until you've addressed all active events across all departments. Okay. Into events, the right panel displays states. States are modifiers applied to departments when certain conditions are met. You can hover over a state to see what it affects, why it appeared, and most importantly, how to remove it. States are indicated by a blue counter near the department icon. Important, monitor the state section in each department carefully. Some states can be predicted. Before they activate, a special notification will appear in the section. It will specify which state is about to trigger and how to prevent it. assuming it's something undesirable, of course. Good luck handling the new events that have emerged. When you asked him about these mysterious AP, he scratched the back of his head and said, well, actually, it's just the amount of free time managers have. Like, how many tasks they can manage to complete in the department based on their workload. To be honest, the previous company had spent insane money on this very system, so we really hope it will be useful and convenient for you. And what about the amount of this AP? Why are they called that? The employee smiled. Well, the name, actually. Have you played old games? You know, well, there was usually a resource spent on performing actions. So we thought it would be cool to transfer that into reality. The higher it is, the more points. But management loyalty is also an important thing. In our calculation formula, loyalty acts as a multiplier. So low loyalty will minimize the AP, no matter how high the experience is, and high loyalty will boost the AP, even if the manager is a complete novice. Okay, budget by 25k. On screen appeared a woman with an arrogant demeanor. Any signs of aging were hidden by genetic and cybernetic modifications. Her entire posture and demeanor radiated condescension towards your entire corporation and you personally. Smiling, she began, "It seems we haven't been introduced. My name is Michelle Lafargue. I am the official representative of Ontario MedTech, though most prefer to call us," she feigned a wince, "the Coven. An overly theatrical name, if you ask my opinion." Who asked? Nobody asked. Nobody wants your opinion, woman. After a long exchange of pleasantries, Lafargue got to the point. "Let me explain why I initiated this contact. You are not from Core City and do not fully grasp the position the Coven holds here. While our conglomerate of corporations is the most influential player in most aspects of the city's life. Don't believe anyone who tries to tell you otherwise. We have comprehensive capabilities for cooperation with all major city media outlets, independent investigators, and pharmacological laboratories. We are a powerful organization and thus gladly assist those who further our goal, and vice versa." Michelle concluded her monologue with a strained smile. Her words carried an implicit threat. Give no definitive answer. In response to Michelle Lafargue's quite unambiguous question, you delivered an impressive tirade about how you value strategic partnership and strive to build long-term business connections. Even the most seasoned university professor would have struggled to find a grain of meaning in your speech. Throughout your monologue, Michelle's expression remained utterly unchanged, as if she'd been 3D printed. "I see. Thank you very much," she said shortly at the end of your speech, flashed a smile, said goodbye, and hung up. "That was something." Joanna raised her eyebrows in surprise. "I think the Coven hasn't yet figured out how to relate to us. Maybe that's for the best." Okay. Get somewhere. Syndicate. A man! You were working late in your office sorting through documents left by your predecessor. Just as you were about to turn off your came in, tellingly labelled Crimson Syndicate. You wearily opened the communication interface. Staring back from the screen was a heavily cybernetically modified man with greying temples, wrinkled clothes, and a scar across his face. He looked like a retired hunter. Without even letting you utter a greeting, he started speaking. Yeah, one short time. You probably are too. So let's not dawdle. Don't know if those Coven bastards have already contacted you or not. Anyway, a newbie in the corporate swamp like you to understand two things. We control everything that matters in this city, from guns and drugs to fucking laundry detergent. Second, don't cross us. Your corporation deals in virtual worlds, and that often intersects with our interests. Friend, we're always ready to help our allies protect themselves from the Coven or other ill wishes, and we destroy our enemies, quickly and decisively. Understood? Answer try not to provoke. Right, let's not waste time. You heard me. I heard you too, I guess. Whatever you meant, know this. You shouldn't cross the syndicate. End of transmission. The next morning, Joanna commented on your account of the call. I'm not sure that was a good idea. The syndicate values straightforwardness. But I must admit, you acted cautiously. That's valuable. Believe me, I know. I assisted the previous CEO. He was the antonym of the word caution. Okay. Let's slow down a little bit. Did I lower you? Lower this a little. Lower it just a little bit. Lower in place. Still got some action points left. A little bit of expenditure here. A little bit here. Advertising. Hell yeah. Social, you'll love to see it. Manipulations at the level of 5-year-olds. Ew. No, we don't want to use AI. Okay, we got one action point left. Inefficient management. Hey, I'm efficient. Today, we'll discuss management. While much in our company revolves around the CEO, they can't run the company alone. Please open the top management control panel. Each department has its own leader, a top manager. Click on one of their portraits to examine how manager metrics affect performance. The key attributes of every top manager are experience and loyalty. Experience accumulates naturally over time and improves departmental management efficiency. Loyalty increases through events and determines action points generation. One of the top information security experts in the field, silent and secretive, Liam goes to great lengths to conceal his role as the architect behind Space Corps server defenses during the war with the Syndicate. Though the corporation ultimately fell, many of its industrial secrets remain unrevealed thanks to him. As experience or loyalty grows, top managers may become more demanding. Sometimes the only solution is to hire a replacement. In this section, you can browse available candidates. If your top managers generate more action points than you currently need, for instance, if you don't wish to adjust initiatives now, you can sell the remaining AP by clicking this button. Each action point will yield a fixed amount of currency. The board of directors will hold an election after 24 turns and decide whether to keep you in the position of CEO or not. Open the director's screen and select the profile of one of the directors to examine what matters to them in detail. All directors evaluate the company's profitability equally. However, each director also holds sympathies towards certain factions and prioritizes specific financial metrics. These parameters are factored into the calculation of how their approval will change at the end of the turn. Currently, the company is in poor shape, so don't be surprised. Director approval will likely start growing much later. Good luck! I did the tutorial! Yippee! One of the top managers complained employees from his department were regularly leaving their workstations and going on excursions to a neighboring department. They were implementing an experimental method for virtual worlds, with some particularly immersive music and unique realistic plants. People returned inspired but distracted, and the manager's performance metrics were dropping. He demanded an official ban on movement between departments during work hours. Let them run to their tours during lunch if they're so curious, he snapped in irritation. I want to hold a meeting about transfers between departments. The meeting was moderately successful. Everyone listened attentively, nodded, agreed that efficiency shouldn't be sacrificed even for the most interesting project. Truth be told, it all sounded like empty words. Most clearly didn't believe anything useful would come of it. and that's exactly what happened. Everything stayed the same. But the mere fact that you let people have their say smooth things over. Now, before going to another department, employees at least send a message to their manager. He still grumbles, but admits you've at least tried. Employee backing increased by 25, manager security for loyalty. Nice. Let's just done that one. Here, I'll become efficient. Competitor's drone. During lunch break, panic erupted in the R&D department. A drone that had lost control crashed into the window. A quick inspection revealed the device was equipped with a powerful zoom camera, transmitted data to a remote server, and, most importantly, belonged to one of your competitors, specifically the corporation from Greater Toronto, Edgeright Entertainment. The head of security brought you this drone with a logical question. This thing was clearly used to spy on us. It's quite likely they even managed to steal something. What are we going to do about this situation? Investigate the situation. You contacted the CEO of Edgeright Entertainment. With an unctuous smile, you informed them about the unfortunate drone incident. You also voiced your intention to take the matter to Florida Legacy. While Florida Legacy itself holds a monopoly on legal violence only in Core City, all such structures are interconnected. Even in Greater Toronto, your adversaries would be reached. In short, you thoroughly frightened the poor executive. They hurried to buy you off, offering a sum far exceeding the cost of the broken window. They also swore to delete all the data under threat of handing the drone over to the proper authorities. Budget increased by 200k? Holy help! On the outskirts of former Tampa, both the Coven and the Syndicate need to capture the same object, an abandoned research laboratory of the now defunct Miami Bio-Research Corporation. The labs potentially contain invaluable bio-augmentation research. Naturally, the factions don't want to engage in open confrontation, so each of them wants your personal guard, cure this laboratory as soon as possible, and then gratis transfer it to the friendly side. I'm gonna go with the Coven because she a lady. I like ladies. Our team of operatives occupied the laboratory ruins on the outskirts, driving out the inhabitants of the neighbouring slums and securing the perimeter. Barely concealing his satisfaction and impatience, he accepted the territory under his jurisdiction. Employee backing decreased by 20. Faction reputation with the Coven increased by 5. Reputation with the Syndicate decreased by 5. 20 less. Good morning, CEO. Xu Hang has just taken over the largest media corporation in Hong Kong. We sent a golden statuette as a congratulatory gift. Well, that's where our money went. The olive branch. When you returned from another call was showing on your The caller was identified as CEO Digital Landscapes. You'd seen this name many times. Your closest competitors are the second corporation in Core City dealing in virtual worlds. You pressed accept, and a man appeared on the screen. Young, relaxed, with a tiredly benevolent expression. My name is Dane Katagawa. I think the account name gave me away. I'm the CEO of Digital Landscapes Corporation. And yes, we are competitors. But personally, for example, I'm tired of the endless corporate wars. Everyone is constantly scheming, hiring hunters, hackers, and so on. In my opinion, it's extremely tedious and only breeds hatred. And most importantly, financial losses. So my proposal is, let's not be enemies, but instead agree on some kind of collaboration. For example, we could create a promo section for your most popular world within our most popular world, and you do the same mirrorly. I sincerely believe our users still have unsold kidneys left to donate to both our ecosystems. Finishing, he laughed good-naturedly, then reached his hand towards the screen as if to shake yours, but catching himself, he chuckled again and awkwardly scratched the back of his head. In the end, both you and Dane Katagawa are tasked your marketing teams with developing two different systems. A two-way referral system where users of your worlds get discounts in digital landscapes, worlds, and vice versa, and a structure for shared premium accounts active in both your and Katagawa's worlds. Within a week, these features were implemented and started generating profit. Developing the joint systems required sharing significant portions of source code, substantially impacting our data security. Encryption systems decreased, firewall integrity decreased. They'll be fine. Bullying? The entire corporation is in an uproar. One of the top managers was found missing from his workstation. Later, security cameras showed him standing on the edge of our skyscraper's roof, with the obvious intention of ending his own life. The newcomer among the top managers was pushed to the edge after a series of public humiliations. A company veteran had been mocking his gutter pig instincts and rotten raider mentality. The support staff psychologist reported that the guy wasn't responding to messages, just standing silently on the roof. When they tried to persuade the veteran to talk to him, he just snorted. It seems the only thing that will bring the rookie down from the roof is news that justice has been served. Convince the rookie not to make a mistake. Let the veteran be the one to leave. The decision was swift. The veteran packed his things without a word. For the first time in weeks, he participated in the casual chit-chat by the coffee machine, a place he had previously avoided due to constant harassment. The return to normal work wasn't without its awkward moments, but the overall atmosphere in the department became noticeably lighter. Security manager 30 loyalty. State effect triggered encouragement. Virtual deals. Joanna caught up with you in the hallway as you were heading from one meeting to another. She looked worried. With a nervous smirk, she activated a holographic interface displaying incoming data. It seems it's the first time we're seriously caught between a rock and a hard place. Then, right there in the corridor, Joanna gave you an urgent presentation on the crisis situation. In many of our more game-oriented popular worlds, users trade items, sometimes paying with real money. The Syndicate needs our agreement to integrate this encryption software, and for us to turn a blind eye to deals involving illegal goods. In this case, we'd also get a percentage of the deals. Unfortunately, that's not the end of the problem. Almost simultaneously, the Coven contacted us with the opposite request. Their pharmaceutical operations are losing profits due to shadow deals on the drug market. The Coven is aware of the Syndicate's plans and wants us to give Ontario MedTech access to all of our players' transaction histories. Covenant specialists will monitor 24/7 who sold what to whom, and also request those players' personal details from us to resolve the issue with them. The Covenant will pay us generously for this information. So in summary, Joanna concluded, we have to choose between allowing drug trading in our worlds and selling out our players' data ourselves. A wonderful fork in the road, isn't it? Give the Coven the transaction history and user data. Share user data, baby. The very next day, Coven information specialists, quiet guys with utterly dead eyes, arrived at the security department. They got to work and started manually sifting through absolutely every transaction, with such intensity that our employees began whispering that they'd sent us androids. Furthermore, in reality, not only obvious drug dealers have started disappearing, but also just critics of the Coven. So now, in your virtual worlds, people try to avoid mentioning Ontario MedTech unnecessarily. We appreciate your willingness to cooperate with the Coven. We think it's worth cementing our benevolent relationship in some assistance to a developing company like Virtual Dreams. Tell us, how could we help you? What would you want from the Coven? Completely free of charge, of course. Help the developers with optimization. I'm still inefficient. Brother, please. Noise. The marketing department is located just below the roof. It's unclear how it happened, but the local acoustics are such that the marketing team constantly complains about some new noise source in the vicinity. The fact that the helipad is directly above the marketers, which gets on their nerves, doesn't help the situation. One way or another, the marketers are now complaining about another noise from the streets of Core City. Something is either buzzing, clattering, or screaming. Who knows? Send security to deal with the noise source. Security quickly dealt with the noise source. Complaints from the marketers stopped coming in by the next day. How the enforcement wing of Virtual Dreams managed it, you didn't inquire. The main thing is that Florida Legacy didn't raise any issues with you, and the marketers no longer complain about any noise, except for the clatter of helicopter blades, but they'll survive that. Drones? They still spying on us. You are needed in this scheme because the man doesn't want to contact either the Coven or the Syndicate through official channels. And for some reason, the bag over the head and into the trunk plan isn't suitable in this situation. You set out coffee cups, began a lengthy conversation about business. In the middle of the visit, just as you were starting to simmer and express your dissatisfaction with the state he'd left the company in, the office door swung open and a triumphant representative of the Coven entered. The former CEO jumped up from the sofa and froze, a flicker of fear mixed with impotent rage in his eyes. They left together without a word. Later, the Coven thanked us in their characteristically vague manner. Employee backing is decreased. Cash not good. Development velocity. There we go, let's just use all our action points. Oh, we're in debt. No coffee was delivered this week, but we're somehow managing to conceal the situation from the marketing team. Have a productive week. The problem is, those employees are already swamped with tasks. Their manager states outright that lending them out will cause them to miss their own deadlines, and consequently, no one should be transferred. Saying yes to one manager means throwing the other under the bus. However, the second department handled their tasks almost perfectly. Their employees weren't distracted, didn't have to split their focus, and as a result, secured a company win in an important tender. The second department's manager clearly gained respect for you. You wandered between animal enclosures, trying to adjust to Gate's walking speed. He moved extremely slow, also leaning on a cane. You stopped at an empty enclosure where a sign read, African Lion, Extinct. Gwende Kete thoughtfully leaned on the railing and said, Pleasure to meet you. You have many difficulties ahead, as I once did. By the way, do you want some advice? Agree to get advice. Before answering, Nyende Kete coughed heavily, and his guard hastily shoved some strange-looking inhaler to the boss. Kete took a deep breath from the device several times, then carelessly threw it into the empty enclosure and continued. The advice is simple. Don't try to chase after any specific key indicator in the company. That way you'll forget about everything else, and then you won't be able to deal with the problems. Switch between KPIs, he chuckled. I'm telling you this as a director. When you said goodbye, Kete also transferred a substantial sum to your personal account for the hassle, as he put it, and instructed you to put part of that sum into Virtual Dreams accounts. Okay, free money. Ew. Department hasn't got a manager. What department are we? R&D? Where's my managers? Yeah, we fired him. Whoopsies. We're gonna hire Mia, because she's experienced and she likes me. Here we go. Problem solved. Decrease technical debt. I have no act points left. This is fine. This event is triggered by reaching 20 reputation with the faction The Coven. This time, Michelle Lafargue didn't call you. Joanna delivered an old-fashioned paper letter to you on stationery with flourishes. The letter, in its now familiar verbose and ornate style, expressed gratitude for your fruitful cooperation. As a gesture of goodwill, Lafargue offered Virtual Dreams assistance with qualified personnel from Ontario MedTech to reduce your HR costs. However, this would require either one-time payouts to the specialists or replacing your current staff with a smaller number of them. Entire generations of experts who have collaborated with the Coven generation after generation. Corporate families, and this is an incredibly valuable personnel resource. Such specialists are incredibly hard to find. I still need to be a better manager. July 4th? I don't celebrate that. In the virtual world dedicated to life in the USA in 2010, Real America, every year, although in Real America every year is 2010, but it's better not to think about that. They celebrate July 4th. Supposedly it's Independence Day, a big holiday in America because cosmetic items flow like a river. We make tens of thousands of dollars on virtual fireworks of various shapes alone. Not to mention the sale of exclusive barbecue flavors for the real sensation generators. And right now, we made excellent money. A complacent atmosphere reigns in the finance department. Great news! Proving grounds. Schwarzwald Dingming, the largest Eurasian manufacturer of combat software and weapons, wants to open a virtual testing ground with us for testing their anti-hacker programs. Simply put, they want their own virtual world where they will try to melt the brains of intruders. But since Schwarzwald, they are also asking you to decide which faction to approach for support. Let them approach the Coven. We directed the corporation to the Coven, and they willingly issued the necessary permit along with recommendations. The testing ground is already deployed, and tests are in full swing. You've glanced at the broadcasts from the Proving Ground world a couple of times, and your stomach turned from the footage of test NPC hackers having their heads blown apart by defensive software. The Coven is pleased. Good morning, CEO. The Coven is expanding into a European resource company this Wednesday. It's rare for them to operate outside the former American states. Have a productive week. Budget shrinking, but profit growing. That good, in my opinion. Invasion! You had to work late tonight. By the time you left your office, the Virtual Dream building was empty. Most corridors and open spaces were dark, so you walked using the light from your comms flashlight. Suddenly, passing by the R&D department, you heard a strange grinding noise. You peeked through the doorway. Creeping up to the server room, you looked inside from behind the door jamb. Inside the room were 4 hunters. They were unmistakable due to their motley composition. An obvious ex-soldier, some slum punk, a heavily augmented mercenary. They had removed the server room door from its hinges and used it to breach the prototype vault. There they began breaking into the security system of an experimental device that allows consciousness to persist in VR after the body's death. Right now, you are watching as the group's hacker, hunched over a computer, breached the security perimeter. You had to do something. You had already pressed the special button on your comm, and security received the signal. But if you stall or try to slip away quietly, the hunters will definitely manage to steal the prototype. And how did they even get in here so stealthily? Negotiate with the hunters and try to outbid them. You mustered your courage, sent a remote signal to security to wait 1 floor down, and stepped into the server room with your hands raised. Just as one of the hunters took the prototype from its pedestal and placed it in his bag, 3 rifle barrels were immediately pointed at you. What That followed were lengthy negotiations where you tried to haggle the price down, all while standing under the muzzles of their rifles. Finally, the hunters reluctantly agreed to 600,000. Their leader took the prototype out of the bag and placed it back on the pedestal. My budget decreased, but at least my employees like me. An inexperienced manager recently procured equipment for several departments, proudly reporting significant cost savings and an unconventional approach. However, a scandal soon erupted in the warehouse. Another manager accidentally walked past with a dosimeter, and the device went crazy. It turned out the batch was sourced from the wastelands of the former states and had a low but detectable radioactive background. The equipment isn't officially registered anywhere, and the suppliers are hidden behind a murky grey scheme. What to do with all this? The equipment is dangerous, but replacing it will cost a fortune. Purchase new equipment. God, I'm losing all my money. The situation was resolved almost perfectly. The new set of equipment is already in place, and all Virtual Dreams employees can breathe easily. The finance department, however, doesn't share the enthusiasm. They now have to sort through the invoices, pay for the second purchase, and arrange the disposal of the radioactive junk, which even the transport service doesn't want to handle paperwork for. I gain loyalty, but my financial resilience is low. One of the board members didn't bother with a personal acquaintance with you. Instead, she sent an old-fashioned paper letter, moreover with a courier. The letter was written on embossed paper by hand in exemplary calligraphic handwriting, and apparently with a fountain pen. Struggling through Huang's ornate phrasing, you gathered the following meaning for yourself. Zhu was extremely pleased with your appointment and believed you would be able to avoid the temptations and seductions of the CEO position and not undermine such fragile trust. Read the note. Neatly placed inside the folded note was a dried lotus petal. Ah, that Eastern symbolism. And beneath, written in the same calligraphic hand, were the words, "To avoid disappointment, do not allow stagnation. By forgetting to exert effort 4 times, you will lose even more." And what could this cryptic advice mean? At least a tidy sum of dollars was also found in the envelope. Otherwise, what was the point of all of this? Give me money! Oh, inefficient management. I understand. What department are we in? I forgot. What department? But I just hired her! Oh, come on, man. But hang on, doesn't that make them all inefficient? Experience 23. I'm sure she'll gain experience. Spend 30 AP in other departments. Okay, I can work on other. So I'll just ignore this department for a little bit. Hey, we fixed our technical debt issue, I think. In Texas City, there's your corporate competitor, roughly the same size, called Cutting Edge Technologies. Its notorious CEO, named Wilbur Match, has recently become famous for his obsession with competitive multiplayer. For the last few months, he's been running around all public channels challenging other CEOs in a competitive world game dedicated to guerrilla warfare in the jungles, Jungle Raid Champions. The loser invests in the winner's company. A cruel fate has befallen you too. You discovered with horror that in his latest livestream, Wilbur Match repeatedly said your name, called you out for a duel, called you a wimp, and threatened to tear your ass to shreds. You obviously need to respond to this, because the online audience is entirely on Match's side. People love watching corporates put on a show. I'll accept the challenge. Well, it was a complete fiasco, to put it mildly. You fumbled with the controls, used abilities and weapons haphazardly, and logically lost with a score of 32 frags. Moreover, one of your frags was an accident. The opponent just fell through the map. What's more, viewers of Wilbur Match's stream managed to notice that you used boosters. Hey, paid services from other people to level up the account, meaning you didn't even unlock the competitive gear yourself. In short, you never experienced greater shame, and on top of that, by the terms of the bet, you had to invest in your competitors. You should have never agreed, and Wilbur, after happily streaming his victory, quickly forgot about you and moved on to the next victim. Well, there goes my money. Department are we in? Oh, well, that's not going to decrease anything. Oh, potentially works. Good morning, CEO. Emiliano Juarez sent his regards. That's all. Just regards. Over a dedicated paid line. Have a productive week. One of your most loyal and influential managers overstepped during a coffee break and a conversation with a colleague. The topic was a relative of the other person who died in a recent shootout between the Coven and the Syndicate. They both looked at you, one demanding an apology, the other insisting he only spoke the truth. You'll have to choose whose side to take, as you've become involuntary arbiter here. Publicly condemn the offending manager. Predictably, the manager who was offended visibly perked up. He didn't make a scene, but now he straightens up slightly whenever you appear, and his face brightens. The other one had to swallow it. Outwardly, he still smiles, but a barely detectable irritation is clearly audible in his speech. The tacit feud between them hasn't disappeared. However, it now has clear boundaries and your position is obvious. You were giving her a tour while she was constantly answering calls and giving instructions on a million different matters. When you reached the marketing department, already near the very top floor, she asked to stop. Unfortunately, I need to step away urgently. You understand. I have an enormous amount of work. Oh my god, my reading is hard. Weber's face expressed total exhaustion. To be honest, I wasn't paying much attention to what you have going on here at Virtual Dreams even before. A mistake, probably? This whole burden of assets, companies, and shares, it just fell on me just like that. She snapped her fingers. And I really hope that you are a competent CEO. Don't let me down, I beg, please. Assure you won't let her down. Well, you know, that becomes political games, not management. But if you do get drawn into it, then I suppose by earning enough reputation with one of the factions, you might receive some gratuitous aid from them. With these words, Weber left, leaving you pondering why she decided to give such advice. Later, by the way, a money transfer from Weber arrived at Virtual Dreams. The transaction was labeled for coffee. Coffee's expensive, Joanna smirked. In any case, they are offering help with the investigation. Both the Coven and the Syndicate have enough connections to find out who hired the hunters, where our prototype is, and what to do about it all. The choice is yours. I'll just add that it seems we'll have to choose a helper here regardless. We simply don't have enough resources of our own. And there's no news from Florida Legacy. They're busy with more important things, as always. Corruption, for example. You fell deep into thought. It's obvious that both the Coven and the Syndicate want to help you, not out of kindness, but in exchange for some future favor. They are trying to pull you into a game from which there is no exit. You need to figure out whom is safer to be indebted to, accept the Coven's help. Within a couple of days, you received the first reports. The Coven had mobilized all its resources to find the culprits. They began pressuring small banks, enlisted a dozen private investigators, and hired serious, vetted hackers. The data flow from this entire team was hellish. You were glad you weren't the one sifting through it. All that remains is to wait for the results. Wow. Spend 30 AP on department initiatives. boost this a bit. Oh, we don't have 30. Whoopsies! We can spend 10. 2 independent developers from the outskirts of Core City have been trying to get a presentation to you for almost a month. Finally today, you and all the top managers gathered to hear them out. The young guys enthusiastically demonstrated a holographic projection of a unique system for modifying virtual worlds. Truly unique, no other interface allows for such flexibility. The developers proposed temporarily hiring them and buying the exclusive rights to the technology. The price isn't small, but the potential benefit is high. Buy their system and integrate it. The negotiations were tough, as the developers were fully aware of their system's uniqueness. After 3 hours of corporate persuasion, we settled on an acceptable price. In the end, they agreed. The gamble paid off. The technology was integrated within a week, and we soon started receiving reports of increased revenue. However, information security is raising alarms. It seems a competitor's spyware was embedded in the system. Not spyware! However, both the Coven and the Syndicate have already learned that the files have reached us. Their representatives have made it clear that both factions are interested in this information. Sending it to both is not an option for obvious reasons. Support the Coven. I support the Coven. Documents over to the Coven. They used the information to play the stock market skillfully, managing to sharply increase the share price of a partner company in South America. Ontario MedTech was pleased and openly expressed its gratitude. Okay. Oh, everybody's stagnant. Oh, decrease. Right, that's pretty high. Morning, CEO! Core City lies directly in the path of another hurricane. All employees are advised to remain in the office. Overtime will not be compensated. Yikes. Have a productive week! I'll try. Falsified reports. 2 top managers contacted you in turn with the same accusation. Both claim their colleague was falsifying reports to secure more funding, inflating expense figures, issuing non-existent bonuses, and authorizing excessive maintenance. Both managers want you to take their side and condemn the violator. This becomes quite complicated, as neither of them is aware that you know about their own transgressions. Punish both. Predictably, both managers were in shock when you called them on the carpet simultaneously. The more they realized you knew about not only their rival's deception but their own as well, the more their faces took on a greenish hue. By the end of the dressing down, you were ready to swear that both top managers were close to losing consciousness. Whatever those cheaters felt, you saved the Virtual Dreams budget from a pointless financial hole. And that's worth a lot, literally. Oh, budget increased by 175k. The managers don't like me. Emiliano Juarez. Another meeting with a board member, Emiliano Juarez, happened by chance. On your day off, you decided to visit an elite private beach on the ocean shore. And there, Juarez caught up with you, accompanied by a crowd of guards. Apparently, Juarez had rented it out entirely for the evening. The director began to explain. It's all about people, you understand. Your managers can be such capricious assholes, constantly demanding one thing or another, so keep an eye on their loyalty. Well, you understand what I mean. Bartender, another round. The next day you woke up with a buzzing head. You didn't remember the end of the evening. A transfer came to your communicator from Juarez with the caption, business proposal. 35 reputation, that's pretty good. In the morning, you received another proposal from Michelle Lafargue and the Coven through her. As a long-standing partner in many endeavors, the Coven offered you its promotion channels. The only question is, for this help, you will either have to pay a little extra or push neutral advertisers out of the market. Among them is Clara Weber's holding. I'll offer money. Because we got a bit more money. So I'll offer money. The money was soon transferred to Ontario MedTech's account. This decision bore fruit. Your marketers are thrilled. Virtual Dreams ads are everywhere. Even the head of marketing says his stomach turns from our ads. A good sign. Wow. Experience above 50. What's your experience? 28. And your loyalty was at 26. But your loyalty is 31. Let's get somebody who's more loyal. You. The reception. You're invited to a dinner party held in a luxurious penthouse atop a skyscraper. During one of the many social conversations, you got drawn into a spat between representatives of the Coven and the Syndicate. What started as a mundane discussion about road traffic escalated into insults. Now, during a suddenly awkward pause, both representatives are looking at you, waiting for you to support one of them. Support the Coven representative! Come on! We sided with the Coven representative. He appreciated it and expressed his gratitude personally, while the Syndicate emissary, turning crimson, hurried away from the dinner. We gotta cozy up to the hot lady. About 50. I'm quite happy with your loyalty. Everybody's loyalty seems okay, just now. Oh, you're still stagnant. Here we go. We've done the 30, I think. Inflation. Company CB Limited has served as a central bank for everyone who kept the dollar as their currency for half a century. A couple of months ago, they started a corporate war against one of the new currency corporations. The opponent turned out to be more formidable than CB anticipated, so facing a shortage of their own funds, they started printing money. Unfortunately, Core City uses dollars, so we got caught in the crossfire. Hyperinflation is imminent, and we need to find some way to protect our assets. Stock up on supplies to minimize dependence on inflation. This method of combating inflation was unorthodox, but seems to have paid off. Although the office is now drowning in stationery, drone batteries, holographic tablets, and light bulbs, it seems that this will be our legacy. Metric savings increased, and metric fruitless expenditures increased. I don't know if that's good. Decrease market insight until 75 and less. Where's market insight? Oh boy, that's... okay. I'll have to do, because we've got no action points left. Needs to be 50. She looks 50. Oh, I didn't catch that. I want to know what the achievement was! The favor. A serious hole was discovered in the reports. Funds allocated for server upgrades and had vanished. The CFO is in a panic, and you found a short note from Joanna on your desk. I know someone who can help. He owes me. Just trust me, it's reliable. A couple of hours later, a man named Clive appeared. Too well groomed for a hunter or a thug, too relaxed for an investor or a corporate. Corpo-rat. He agreed to a transfer of funds without interest, even suggested it himself, and stated it was absolutely free of charge. Agree but run Clive through the databases. After lengthy investigations and attempts to find Clive in the databases, you discovered nothing. Zero. Absolute void. Not in your records, not in public ones, as if the man never existed. However, you stumbled upon Joanna's name in an internal database. A database to which only the board of directors had access. And you did not. When you questioned her, Joanna just shrugged, claiming she had no idea what it could mean. You had to let it go. Ooh, hunter scandal. One of your managers showed initiative. He hired hunters to covertly infiltrate a secure Virtual Dreams block and steal secret developments from another one of your own departments. Why would he do that? The clearance system wouldn't let him in, so he decided he could impress you with results if he acquired them before his colleagues. He's already fudging the timeline in his reports and preparing a presentation. The manager took the reprimand to heart. He moves like a shadow now, no longer taking any initiatives. People in the office whisper that he's drinking heavily, and you can smell the booze on him yourself. However, the department that was supposed to experience unscheduled drills is extremely grateful to you. The manager shook your hand with such respect, as if you had personally saved his life. And why? As if preventing a disaster is the best possible outcome. R&D's gonna lose another manager? Bruh. Bates. I have no illusions about the difficulty of your situation, Bates assured you ingratiatingly. Your predecessor messed things up as much as possible, though at least not like his predecessor. He gave a strangely sinister chuckle. That one was hired by the syndicate to eliminate me at a personal meeting. Ended up right there. Bates pointed to a door at the end of the corridor with a sign that read, "Biological threat, do not enter." Can you imagine? Good thing you're not such a madman. Guarantee Bates that you are a reliable CEO. Bates waved his hand. Well, alright, don't despair. I'll give you some advice. When you realize that the needed indicators are steadily decreasing or increasing, you shouldn't further increase spending on initiatives in that department. Otherwise, revenues will never keep up with the growth of expenses. This is from personal experience. 17.5k. Ah, things are fine. Management's fine for now. Just up that a little bit. Audience burnout. Reach KPI grade C. So for audience reach, we need to up a few things. Just up them by 2. Social engineering. Events could be good. Merch. We love merch. And then sell our last action point. Inefficient management. We'll see. Well, the others are worse than him, so... Oh, need to lower banner blindness. Whoopsies. Decrease information leaks. I have nothing to report today. Isn't that wonderful? Have a productive week. Yippee! Investigation results. Over your morning coffee, you received the investigation report from your allies. Its contents made you choke. According to all the data, the hunters were hired through intermediaries by Joanna. Your secretary and assistant Joanna. The report included a heap of evidence, her password, screenshots of transfers from Joanna's account and a secure messenger used to communicate with the hunters. But it all seemed like complete nonsense. Your first move was to summon your assistant for a conversation. As you laid out the investigation's findings, Joanna's face grew increasingly filled with anger. Composing herself, she presented her version of events. They also hijacked an account in a minor bank where Joanna had kept $2 for about 5 years. No work-related data was stolen, so your assistant didn't even bother investigating further. As it turned out, that was a mistake. I'm not gonna take her side, but I'm gonna continue the investigation. Joanna's tone and facial expression betrayed profound dismay. You weren't exactly eager to hurl accusations yourself, but you had no other choice. The investigation had to be seen through to the end. Later, however, the head of security contacted you. In the wake of recent events, you had tasked him with tightening measures to prevent anything like this from happening again, and it seemed he had risen to the occasion with distinction. Team don't like me because I'm profiling them. Escapism. Our team is incredibly proud. A world called Without has been released under the Virtual Dreams banner. It features a completely unique environment in the spirit of surrealist artists and technology. It's a true marvel, utilizing non-Euclidean geometry in level design. Users share our excitement and are flocking to this new project in droves. But the problem is, it turned out too awesome. People are refusing food and sleep, even neglecting basic needs to continue living in the without world. Their relatives and friends are sounding the alarm. Public VR club administrators are complaining about without users who refuse to leave virtuality. Entire halls are starting to resemble pigsties. What are our thoughts on this? We will forcibly limit time in virtuality. Yes. Users are furious. They aren't allowed to play. Some just ignore the problem and move to other worlds or competitors, then write outrage reviews. We are rapidly losing money. Sag. Meanwhile, users who don't have addiction problems are pleasantly surprised by our responsibility. In online discussions, they express full support and hold us up as an example of a corporation with the people. However, you can't plug a budget hole with compliments. True. Okay, we need to lower banner blindness. But then, they are physical dependent. It's just not embarrassing to wear at home. I would love to make some of that. Neuro marketing. Sure. That's another day, another week done. Oh, you're so whimsical. Glitch Hunters. R&D rolled out a pilot for a new project called Glitch Hunters, a hybrid of a game and augmented reality where users hunt for digital creatures in the ruined districts of Core City in real time, capturing them in special containers. Visual designs used the most popular tropes, in the style of glitch demons, whatever that means, and mutants from the wastes of the former America, with interaction through special neurointerference. No, neurointerface. Whoopsies. That's different to interference. It's not just entertainment, the developers assured. It's a way to give people back the feeling of discovery in the real world, to make the streets interesting again. Maybe a little dangerous too, but that's the cost, of course. The idea looked expensive and unsafe, but also viral. Security made it clear that people would obviously get themselves killed in the ruins, and we'd be blamed. But the marketers said the risk was justified by the virality. Bad idea. Not worth it. Not worth it. It turned out that our competitors from Edgewright were secretly working on the same project. Their release blew up in a matter of hours. The public rushed into the ruins. Streams ran 24/7. Maybe it's a good thing we weren't, because now it's our competitors who are at the center of the scandal due to the mass deaths in the ruins. But both the envy and the feeling of opportunity remained. No. Audience is still burning out. Pressuring media executives. That sounds fun. Really noticeable advertising during the daytime. Fan-based engagement. AI provides decent assistance. Influencers with over 1,000 subscribers promote us. That includes me! Bonuses in our world for purchasing illegal weapons. That sounds great. Like a great idea. Light subconscious programming. Good morning, CEO! I have nothing to report today. Isn't that wonderful? Have a productive week. Okay. Interesting project. One of the top managers complained employees from his department were regularly leaving their workstations and going on excursions to a neighboring department. Let's hold the meeting again, just for a bit of loyalty. Oh, I need to decrease banner blindness again. Even your cybersports players themselves don't know we found them. We'll tease it in orbit once a day. See if that helps. So just avoid these three. Okay. AI on par with an experienced employee. Oh no, we're replacing people with AI! That sounds lovely. Our conferences are sometimes covered by local media. Oh, I've only got one action point left. I'll sell it. Nepotism hire! It turned out one of the HR managers was promoting their incompetent relatives to responsible positions within the company. They had already managed to annoy the competent specialists significantly, and one of them was even responsible for a loss of nearly $100,000. The HR department's top manager is clearly covering for HR managers, so they will definitely be on their side. Punish HR, fire the relatives, obviously. The look on the HR top manager's face while you were reprimanding them clearly indicated the subordinates were in for a rough day, and you were visibly losing respect points. But in the end, the decision was the only correct one. Work efficiency increased significantly, and conflict caused by brazen nepotism decreased. After all, some people had to literally spill blood just to get into the corporation. Good morning, CEO! The R&D department is performing maintenance today. Whatever that means. Girl, you're suspicious as heck. Have a productive week. Audience reach is still garbage, but we've got better media presence, so that's okay. Late at night, you received a detailed report confirming that Joanna had not lied. Her data was indeed stolen, her identity and accounts used as a cover, ultimately untangling the web of straw men and shell companies led your allies straight to Digital Landscapes. He didn't just approve the operation to steal the prototype, he initiated it. And he gleaned the details of your internal developments through constant collaboration offers. The joint work made it easier for his hackers to infiltrate your system. Your first move was to summon Joanna and vividly share your outrage with her. In response, she just shrugged and offered an awkward smile. Well, I'm glad the charges against me have been dropped, and to be honest, I never doubted Katagawa was up to something. People at his level aren't friendly simpletons. But an important question remains. What do we do about Digital Landscapes now? They have our prototype, and it's a crucial development. We need to deal with these scum once and for all. We're seeking out from the Coven. An underground complex was discovered beneath the corporation's building, where hundreds of people were being held. They had all been kidnapped from settlements in the wastelands and the slums of Core City to be sold for their organs. All of Digital Landscape's assets were seized, and their office was sealed. I'm trying to grab the bar. There we go. And their office was sealed pending the investigation's completion. You were impressed, especially knowing that there was no investigation and everything reported was pure fiction. A particular pleasure came from the close-up shot of Dane Katagawa's face, confused and terrified. As for the prototype, the next day a courier from an unknown sender delivered it to you. The packaging was sealed with a clip bearing the Coven's symbol. Return of the prototype. The reception. You're invited to a dinner party, road traffic, support the Coven. We've done that before. Departmental stagnation. I'm just gonna not touch it. Okay, what we got going on here? Departmental stagnation. Decrease market insight. Market. What if we just turn all of this off? Underground transport. The head of security says. Ideally, we need to not just get there. We need to do it without bullet holes in the car or the personnel. The metro is a convoluted, dilapidated system inhabited by scum. But in this situation, we had no choice. Maintenance tunnels. The technical tunnels weren't as abandoned as rumoured. The train encountered a gang of diggers armed to the teeth. They used smoke traps and drones that blinded the security and jammed radio communications. When the train finally reached the exit, it looked as if it had been through the Fifth World War, but the cargo was intact. Decrease information leak. All information is an open book. Candidates are blank slates to us. Sell the rest of our action points. We're in the green, baby! Good morning, CEO! No coffee was delivered this week, but we're somehow managing to conceal the situation from the marketing team. Have a productive week. Disruptive help. An experienced manager insists that borrowing a team from a neighbouring department— oh, we've read this one. Forbid the poaching of employees. Stagnation is fine, man. Is it? No, it's not. Fine. Good level of vintage feel. Only professionals can hack it. Moderate realism. Premium worlds for the wealthiest of the elite. Entire departments are fighting our viruses. A careful Trojan program. it's data mining. Standard support. What else is not doing great? Only small details portray modernity. I'm just seeing if anything else can be upgraded. I don't think so. No, I think we've upgraded everything as much as we can just now here. Reporting secrets. A call from Michelle Lafargue. Yeah, I spelled it wrong in the last one. Had already become a familiar ritual. Virtual dreams had earned another loyalty reward. No one has mastered the art of convoluted and ambiguous reporting like the Coven. Ontario MedTech's financiers are sharing this technique with us, and even the most meticulous Florida legacy analyst won't be able to find any embezzlement. Of course, we'll have to pay the financiers for their work. The Coven's financiers organised a whole series of lectures for your financial department. Employees even started whispering that the Ontario MedTech experts were robots. And given the non-stop series of lessons they conducted, it wasn't in vain. The finance department's efficiency increased significantly. Awkward attempt at speculation. Security bot! One of the security robots has gone haywire. It's not attacking anyone, but it's speeding through the office corridors, crashing into people and blaring its siren and commands like "lethal force authorized" at top volume. Employees are terrified, avoiding its route and barricading their office doors. Perhaps for good reason. The droid is equipped with a shock prod and steel restraints and could easily cause harm. Security needs to deal with this urgently. Dispatch security to capture the robot. Guards evacuated the staff and started hunting the droid. It turned out the machine's warnings about resistance weren't an exaggeration. An absurd number of guards, over a dozen, were injured by the shock prod, which the robot used excessively. We had to pay the poor guys compensation, still cheaper than hiring a whole new crowd of guards. Whoopsies. Well, next turn. Good morning, CEO. Half of Core City has no electricity this week. Fortunately, we're in the other half. Have a productive week. I think I'm doing okay at this game. Add pets. Advertisement pets. Just a small holographic tattoos in their fur. And the pet becomes a walking advertisement for virtual dreams, assured the department head, looking at you with a sparkle in his eyes. According to reports, some parrots and crows have even been trained to repeat simple phrases and advertising slogans. The next week, the network was in a frenzy. Everyone was discussing how to stop parrots from repeating annoying slogans. Memes spread through channels faster than you could publish official apologies. The reputational losses were tangible, and the name Virtual Dreams became associated not with innovation, but with wild trash for a while. The money was wasted and the campaign's benefits were minimal. Hey, at least we didn't brand any animals. Wait, no, we were supposed to be decreasing that. Whoopsies! Oh, you can save the game. That's good to know. Funding absolute champions. Go big or go home. Going somewhere, that's for sure. And then lower that a little bit. Help! On the outskirts of former Tampa. Good morning, CEO. Half Core City, no electricity. 2 weeks in a row. Have a productive week. Parties and backdoors. Never-ending Party is a virtual world dedicated to endless raves, parties, and good times. Every building there is a concert venue, a bar, or a simple dive. Given the influence the hackers who found the backdoor wield within Never-Ending Party, we need to discreetly identify who is opening these backdoors, without letting the users realize we know about the situation. I'll hire a digital detective. He threw himself into the investigation with dedication. We regularly receive reports from him from the seediest virtual parties, transcripts of interrogations with DJs and strippers, lengthy conversations with bartenders, and inspections of every half-living toilet stall at the rave. Even though the detective damaged a couple of never-ending parties' nodes during the investigation and apprehension of the suspects, he did an excellent job, and he didn't make any critical mistakes. Well, that's good. Bro did his job. Sell our action points and go to next week. Good morning, CEO! The HR department is hosting themed quizzes about virtual dreams history this week. We also have a record number of sick leaves. Oh no. Hey, but we're in the green. Have a productive week. Conflict due to rudeness. One of your most loyal and influential managers overstepped during a coffee break in a conversation with a colleague. The topic was a relative of I see. Publicly condemn him again. Overtime? You don't get overtime. You don't get paid overtime. This time, the smart folks from R&D decided to completely rewrite some piece of code, and instead of optimizing processes, they simply bricked a couple of virtual worlds and about a half dozen internal services. There aren't many ways to react to this, but our attention is still required. Hire freelancers to help them. Okay. Just get a little bit in here, and 15 here as well. There we go. Cured the stagnation. Journey. The connection was established with interference, as if the signal was coming from underground. The camera shook, clearly held by a very inexperienced operator. Guendete appeared in the frame. His face was lit by the midday African sun. A simple mud brick structure was visible behind him in the savannah, along with several people in work clothes staring intently into the lens. Listen carefully, Kete began without greeting. The best of my people will work here. They need a virtual dreams brand to work for me officially. I'm not asking, by the way, I'm telling you what you do. I will invest most of the funds, but I'll need technology and specialists from you to control the process. The voice sounded again from off camera. So you get it. You open a branch, and I manage it myself. You get my gratitude and respect, I get the branch. Everyone's happy. Just don't delay, my people won't wait. I'll agree. He seems nice. The assignment in Africa went worse than the worst forecasts. Half of the branch and data center construction site was essentially a pit where any truck got stuck. The other half was the remains of a collapsed framework with a tent camp for survivors nearby. The infrastructure was post-apocalyptic level, no stable power, intermittent communication, generators stalling from overheating, sleeping in armored capsules was necessary due to raider attacks. The director thanked you for your involvement, calling you the only one who didn't abandon him. He even took a photo with you in front of the completed module, in the dusty rays of the morning sun. It looked pretty cool. Oh no. And we're decreasing! Hacking databases of minor exchanges. There we go, we decreased a bit of market insight. Let's sell the rest of our action points and move on. Oh, all my money! We're in the red! Our profit is in the red! An internal review uncovered a nasty story. HR was actively recruiting labor from the former states, promising stable work and housing. They primarily targeted those who had lost their homes and possessions in technological disasters or raider attacks. Some of the hires didn't even know they were working for Virtual Dreams. They believed they were participating in some kind of support program from a social fund, as if such things still existed. A scandal could break out at any moment. I know we don't have money, but I'll hire them officially. We hired all the deceived people officially. Despite the positive public image, we suffered serious losses. We had to urgently find housing for many, help with documents and integration. And the workers, to put it mildly, weren't the most qualified. Productivity plummeted. Nevertheless, the media praised us for our humanism and social responsibility. unheard of in these times. While the corporation's reputation grew, analysts were quietly trying to estimate how many more months we could last operating at a loss. Hey, this is our first month operating at a loss. Shush. Luxury. A video call came through, a rarity for Weber. A slightly disheveled, pale young woman appeared on the screen, holding two phones at once, so she wasn't talking on either. Oh god, sorry, this is a mess. It's just that I have to organize this, what is it, gala reception, a top-level meeting. A representative from Red Starlight is coming to Core City, you know? That used to be called the North Korea or something. Weber took a powerful gulp of an energy drink handed to her from off-screen and continued. I need your help. A virtual simulation of a luxurious dinner with real actors, ambience, live music, simulated taste of black caviar, everything. Something that will be indistinguishable from the most luxurious reality and will give him a culture shock. In a good way, of course. And the connection station itself needs to be decorated to the highest standard. Cover it in gold, perhaps. If you handle this, I will be extremely disappointed. Yes? Yeah, honey. She seems nice. The virtual reception looked as if its decorations were curated by Red Starlight's designers personally. The gala began with an anthem performed by a choir of 100 perfect avatars in uniform, its lyrics preserved from before the Third World War. The floor in the hall shone with red lacquer, pillars of pure gold stretched into the heavens. Clara Weber was present personally. Against the surroundings, her avatar seemed modest. Taking you to the edge of the virtual space, she thanked you briefly and matter-of-factly for the decision made. And more importantly, she called us her ally. Let's just max out these. I think we've decreased our discrepancy. Let's sell the rest of our action points. End our turn. Good morning, CEO! Grandchete has been out of contact all week, probably handling business in Africa. They named the outlet Empire of Truth. They publish all sorts of news, have organized a full virtual editorial office with correspondents, an investigative journalism department, and regular video digest releases. Of course, this all sounds good, but they are making full use of freedom of speech and actively criticizing all your decisions regarding monetization updates or user bans. The marketing department reports that users readily quote Empire of Truth, and the HR department informs us that even our own employees often agree with the outlet's opinions on donations or unbans in private conversations. I'll support their activity and allocate resources to them. Overall, allocating funds to an independent media outlet worked in our favor. Second, players started trusting them less. You personally observed in stream clips how, against the backdrop of Tang Dynasty China settings, a herald with Empire of Truth news stands sadly, and everyone avoids him. The only pity is, the money went down the drain anyway, as we didn't profit from this at all. Well, a reception! Road traffic, support the carbon blockade. Ash Bates appeared on the video call screen. The familiar, sterile, lifeless room was visible behind him. Good evening, a voice distorted by vocal filters murmured insinuatingly. Waste removal requires assistance with a rather delicate matter. Near the ruins of Denver, we discovered an entire commune living in an area that, according to our data, is extremely hazardous to life. The atmosphere there is heavily contaminated with experimental combat viruses. It's dangerous. But the residents, for some reason, disagree. They claim the viruses don't bother them, that they live just fine, and that we are supposedly fantasizing. I am supposedly getting comfy. There we go. Well, they know not what they do. Where am I going with this? Fortunately, this entire commune unanimously uses your virtual worlds. They spend quite a lot of time there. So let's say at 9 PM, your information security specialists block all the commune's inhabitants inside the virtual world, and our employees will demolish the plant that provides this commune with its means of subsistence in a few hours. I assure you, we will build a much safer production facility in the plant's place. Cool. We blocked all the commune's residents in the virtual world, and while they were trying to log out, waste removal machinery completely demolished the fertilizer production plant. Ash Bates contacted us almost immediately. His voice was habitually cold, but satisfied notes could be heard in the filtered, screechy speech. He thanked us and said they'd somehow deal with the refugees in Neo San Francisco or Grand Dallas. However, the good news didn't last long. Within a week, footage from the demolition site leaked online. Destruction of the only sustainable community, even if it wasn't in a contaminated zone. Yes, as it turned out, there wasn't a trace of radiation in the Denver area. He tweaked me. Stagnation! Let's just boost these just because we can. Oh, we've got 1 point left. But I think we fixed the stagnation. Good morning, CEO! Core City lies directly in the path of another hurricane. Good to know. Blackmail and pressure. The Coven somehow managed to obtain our internal classified data and is now blackmailing senior management with its publication, in their typical vague and deliberately polite manner. This is an unpleasant situation that needs to be resolved quickly, otherwise it will have consequences for our reputation. The Syndicate won't miss a chance to disrupt a rival's plans, so we could ask them to steal the data back. Or we could simply ignore the whole thing. I seem to have gone the Coven route, so let's stick with the Coven. We installed the required script in several virtual worlds, pretending it was the original plan all along. The Coven appreciated our flexibility and tact, but the Syndicate took it as a blatant insult and started making snide remarks during communication sessions. Decrease banner blindness? I've been trying! Big on advertising. It's going up. AI efficiency equals an entire department. Let's boost that to max. We just need to focus on mapping. We need to decrease this. We got no action points left. A week later, an elderly man in a suit with a military bearing and a stone-faced expression entered the office. He silently handed you an envelope and remained standing by the wall. Shu Hang's voice sounded from a tiny communication device you extracted from the envelope. There are rats in your system. They think they're allowed to play both sides and are leaking your secret developments. And some are even trying to find and steal my data using your corporate network. The latter was a stupid idea. Very stupid. The man by the wall didn't move the entire time. I will send people. They will do what's necessary, without noise and without blood, if possible. I can't promise anything, but you must allow them to thoroughly check everyone in your company. Grant my people emergency powers. Refuse and you will answer for the consequences to me. Deliver your answer with the courier. Something clicked in the device. I'll agree. The morning began as usual. Sleepy employees crowded around the coffee machine. A couple of managers were already in the meeting room. And then they entered. Dozens of masked people, without a single word, got to work. Tearing down ceiling panels, searching for bugs, pulling out servers and scanning data. Some tried to flee, but all exits were already blocked. This wasn't a search. Joanna accurately and uncharacteristically called it a total shakedown. Drones buzzed through the corridors, scanners were set up in passageways, and the most terrifying part, Shu Hang's people actually found the traitors. Nearly a dozen people from various departments were led away without a word, but ironclad evidence of their guilt was provided to you personally. One top manager tried to protest. He was struck in the solar plexus with a knee. A couple of days later, a lacquered black box from Shuhuang arrived at the office. Inside were dozens of perfectly arranged lotus blossoms and a note. For your prudence, with gratitude, Shu. The Hut of Absolute Knowledge. Virtual Dreams has a world dedicated to mountaineering and rock climbing. Its environment is an abstract, endless highland, most resembling the Himalayas without end or edge. The world is called the Race for Everest. Lately, this world has found itself at the center of unsettling online chatter. Users report that when a snowstorm begins in the world and climbers lose their bearings, they sometimes come across a strange location that looks like an inverted wooden hut hanging in the air. Upon trying to enter, all players hear a terrifying voice, sounding as if it comes from outside the VR headset in the real world. The voice randomly tells users facts about their lives, mentioning things that couldn't be known, even by stealing all their online data. We could ignore these online tales if we hadn't started receiving quite official appeals from friends of those who encountered the hut. In these appeals, they write that their friends have disappeared, in reality, without a trace. Isolate the server and conduct an investigation, but our developers found nothing more sinister than that. The entire process was thoroughly documented for player accountability. After all, they couldn't access their favorite world for almost 2 days. In the end, the incident was declared a very skillful hoax. Of course, this answer didn't satisfy those whose loved ones had gone missing in reality, but our security service believes it's most likely the work of some cunning gang of kidnappers. Good morning, CEO! Syndicate has incorporated another PMC into the ranks. What could they be preparing for? Have a productive week! An interesting project. Change department, regular leaving, hold a meeting. Necromancy. The Coven's next proposal was somewhat unexpected, and they made you sign a non-disclosure agreement before presenting it. It turned out that Ontario MedTech had personally put an end to dozens, if not hundreds, of different small startups. This started even before the Fourth World War. But every startup the Coven destroyed, it collected into its own cozy little tech crypt. Crypt full of unique developments. And the Coven is ready to share these secret developments with you for a symbolic fee. After this offer, Joanna approached you. An entire army of assistants with armed escort led you through an underground storage facility filled with prototypes. Data drives with research, and even artifacts like laser discs. When some of these ended up in your R&D, the technicians' faces radiated pure bliss. The room from which Kete was connecting turned out to be a dusty warehouse. In the background stood barrels with faded markings, some bleached posters with logos of unknown firms, a chair with sensors, and an ancient, rusty vending machine. No iron continent, biggest producers of iron and other metallic shit back in Africa. He began without preamble. Metal's getting more expensive because of these bastards. My guys are losing money. Time for a full-blown corporate war, and I need your involvement, son. I'm a woman, thank you very much. He moved closer, staring intently into the camera. Join the war, Virtual Dreams. If you don't, we risk losing. We is me and hundreds of communes. Don't think you want to be responsible for the grief of hundreds of thousands of people. He sat down in the chair, covered with sensors, leaned back, and placed his hands on his knees. Block Iron Continent's worlds, drop their partners' products, crash their servers if you have to. This always is not a request. The screen went dark. Okay, doesn't cost me anything. Corporate war sounds abstract until shootouts erupt in adjacent districts and employees hide under desks because someone reported combat drone movement in the sector. Formerly, we were just infrastructure providers, but in reality, Gete dragged us headfirst into his disputes. Security had to take up arms several times a day. In one data center, they even had to evacuate a shift through ventilation shafts while fighters from the Syndicate, allied with Ngende Gete, apparently they found common enemies, cleared the streets. When it all ended, we received a crate from Gete with a trophy, a melted iron continent drone. Thank you was scratched on its hull. Information leaks. Reduce information leaks. 0 action points. Next turn, still in the green. Doing good. Good morning, CEO. One of the finance staff was stealing others' food from the office fridge. Security has been mobilized. Have a productive week. Backstory. This morning, during a video call with one of the investors, an old but curious fact surfaced. Joanna was once offered the leadership of Virtual Dreams. This was before your appointment. Back then, the board of directors saw her as a safe, stable choice. However, Joanna refused, citing an unwillingness to deal with foolishness around the clock. Wow. Could I have just said no? When they asked her directly, she just smirked. When you asked her directly, she just smirked. Boss, you are much more suited for that role, and I, leaned in notorially, would prefer to be the puppeteer and pull the strings in secret. That was a joke, right? Secretly investigate Joanna's activities. The investigation spent a long time examining Joanna's potential leverage over the executives within Virtual Dreams. The connections between them wove a complex web, spreading across departments and even to other corporations. And at the center of this web was Joanna, but then above Joanna were you. Which is logical, since she's your secretary and you're the CEO. But is it really that simple? The camera showed only her thin, well-groomed fingers adorned with rings, trimming a lotus flower with tiny scissors. You know how to get messages across, don't you? Her voice, off-camera, was soft as silk, yet inexplicably threatening. Then deliver one for me, in Core City. There's a media corporation, Core News. Small and excessively bold, to the point of recklessness. They need a reminder not to step onto Xu Huang's field. That is the message you must deliver. However you like, through your worlds, your media, your games, streamers, I don't care. The main thing is that Core News understands. She paused, bringing the flower to her face. The camera trembled slightly, automatically following Xu Huang's hand, revealing the flickering lights of night Shanghai reflected in her eyes. If they think they're out of reach, let them understand that they're mistaken. As for your interest, I always pay my debts, and for this service, I will repay you in full. She chuckled at a joke only she understood and added, "This, of course, is not a threat." Okay. Began exerting monstrous psychological pressure on Xu Huang's short-sighted opponents. Maintaining sanity under such conditions would have been a non-trivial task. The largest public spaces in Core City were rented for advertising banners that used barely disguised quotes to accuse Xu Huang's competitors of sabotage, corruption, and working against public morality. In streams by popular bloggers, we paid off. Morning, CEO! Ash Bates has been almost absent this week. Do you think it's coincidence that there was a nuclear incident in Chicago? Oh, we're back in the red. Disruptive health, bed from poaching, addiction. Do these stimulants have euphoric or hallucinogenic effects? You aren't sure. but you can clearly see how the employees are losing weight, their eyes and cheeks sunken up, and their hands starting to shake with tremors. Launch an anti-drug campaign. Result, for a while, it was hard for you to just enter the department. The atmosphere there was so depressive, gloomy, tired faces, eyes twitching from tics, melancholic sighs from every corner of the office. The development speeds have dropped incredibly, but at least they are now working on hub maintenance again, not experimental projects. Yippee! Back on track. Clara contacted you closer to nightfall. She looked so exhausted that not a trace of her usual absent-mindedness remained. The director spoke evenly and without emotion. Behind her, an empty office drowned in darkness. Listen, we are using too many external services, and most of them are either under the control of the Coven or the Syndicate. They are embedded in our workflows, in cloud storage, in authorization and encryption systems, even in part of the logistics. But in practice, this gives the so-called factions access to encrypted information within virtual dreams. And through the chain, this vulnerability could reach the board of directors, which is undesirable. As you know, we are responsible for far more than just virtual dreams. In short, I need you to disable all technologies from the Coven and the Syndicate, no matter how critical they are. We cannot speak of neutrality if we allow both sides of the conflict in Core City to run rampant in our infrastructure. Now I'm gonna refuse. Clara sent a series of emails, each starting with, "I understand you are busy," but each contained a list of complaints spanning 4 screens about weak security, about the dangers of blind trust, and about the foolishness of making opaque, rash decisions. We tried to respond politely, but Clara Weber no longer bothered with replies. No, deteriorated by 100. Workplace hostility. Jeez Louise. Boost this a bit if we can. Not the worst events for employees. Here. Market insight. Decrease? AI financial advice. Company stock manipulation. Okay, I think, yeah, the action point's done. Okay. You haven't seen Joanna this anxious since the prototype was stolen. She informed you that representatives from both the Coven and the Syndicate had independently scheduled video calls with you. This could only mean one thing. You were being forced into another choice with mutually exclusive options. Only this time, they decided to speak with you personally. That meant it was serious. After the 2 calls, your fears were confirmed. Florida Legacy, a small local corporation acting as the police and the most influential private military company, had long been under pressure from both the Coven and the Syndicate. Both factions had long wanted to acquire Florida Legacy to gain more influence in Core City. Finally, Florida Legacy agreed to hear the terms from both sides in 3-party negotiations. And these negotiations, which would decide who acquires Florida Legacy, are not taking place in reality, but in a virtual world owned by our company. Specifically in Bones and Skulls, a world dedicated to a pirate aesthetic. The negotiations will happen regardless. They've been postponed and planned for too long. So the matter will be settled once and for all. But whichever side we help will be able to acquire Florida Legacy without issue if the third party is absent from the talks. Naturally, one side insists that our help is a reciprocal favor for their assistance in the investigation and recovering the prototype. Their opponents conversely argue that this is our chance to start with a clean slate and forget our past collaborations with their rivals. Due to some monstrous data transfer error, 2 worlds practically merge into one. the space simulator Sun Explorers, and the world simulating 16th century Europe, Holy Roman Empire 1599. Everyone at Virtual Dreams, and across the network in general, is shocked that this is even possible. Spaceships load right in the middle of market squares, the sounds of church masses replace negotiations with alien species, users in futuristic spacesuits find themselves in Germanic forests, while witch hunters appear in the hangars of spaceports. Players left the resulting world with pain. Some didn't want to part with their donated wealth despite compensation. Others were principled and refused to try anything new. And some even claimed that the resulting mix was a very cool and non-standard thing, much better than the original world. But in the end, everyone had to concede. Needless to say, the users were not happy. At least we managed to reduce costs and even make a little profit from the fact that the whales started donating heavily in the new worlds. Nice. We love a whale. Oh no, we can't fiddle with this one. Let's do some industry events. Non-specialist personnel. Emiliano Juarez made contact from the patio of a luxurious hotel. Somewhere in the background, water splashed, semi-naked women and men laughed, and he himself, wearing a terry robe directly on his bare skin, held a glass of something bright green. Salud, amigo. I'm having a bit of personnel instability. He took a sip and continued. I have a group of wonderful, very proactive guys, especially in the production of various substances. They're very eager to be useful, but doesn't have to be a real position. The main thing is IDs, passes, all the formalities. Let's say, as temporary staff for client accompaniment in meditation worlds. Purely a formality. In a month or two, they'll vanish as if they were never there. You've always been for mutual support, right? Juarez responded immediately and without pretense. He stated disappointed that we had lost his trust as the CEO of Virtual Dreams, and added that such decisions did not reflect well on us as managers. After that, he completely cut us off from all work-related and informal contacts. A couple of days later, it became known that all invitations to his closed events for our top managers had been cancelled. Well, that's what we get. No less hostility, please. Okay, we got 2 weeks until the elections. 3 weeks left of the game. Public service announcement. Ash Bates appeared on the screen again. Same backdrop. A sterile, lifeless room where not a single object broke the general monotony. His voice, slightly distorted by filters, sounded with the same soft confidence. Good evening. We at Waste Removal continue to monitor the radiation levels in and around Core City. For now, they remain within acceptable limits, but you know how delicate these limits can be. So here's the point, of course. You understand how important that is. I realize this isn't quite your standard functionality, but we just need to remind people about the importance of personal safety, even those who currently consider it excessive. All you need to do is implement the corresponding changes to the NPC behavior scripts. We'll handle the rest. The user's reaction turned out to be much stronger than we anticipated. People were furious across all worlds. They were angry not so much at the drug itself, but at the fact that buying it had become the only way to get rid of the intrusive NPCs. The network was flooded with complaints, heated debates erupted in forums. You even saw several warnings from the city administration advising people to seek psychologists if they felt too pressured in Virtual Dreams worlds, apparently due to the increasing incidence of public nervous breakdowns. Bates, as always, is reserved. He sent a dozen boxes of that very anti-radiation drug with a sonic comment. Useful stuff. However, it was clear from his subsequent responses he is pleased. It was one of Virtual Dream's first products, and it doesn't even use real sensation simulation. But among the remaining users are many loyal clients who are very active online and have been using our worlds for years. Upon learning about the planned shutdown of zombification servers, they began organising virtual flash mobs in the style of everyone log into the game at the same time and write the same messages in chat, and rallies in an attempt to save their beloved project. It seems they are all taking this very seriously. Apparently their stance wasn't so principled after all. They scattered across post-apocalyptic setting worlds, simulators of various historical eras, and various dark fantasy worlds. However, the users of these new worlds predictably did not like the situation. The defectors from zombification are now contemptuously called zombunnies in discussions. As one user of a dark fantasy sandbox aptly put it, didn't know it was so easy to whine your way into a premium account with Virtual Dreams. Good morning, CEO! The weather this week is absolutely dreadful! Yippee! Overtime! Hire freelancers. Decrease useless hypotheses. Try that as well. Decrease bad avoidance. Let's put this one all the way up. Advertising it. Okay. Let's put the coven. Sell this. Whoops, I didn't check this first. And never mind. This is where fates are decided. Not just the fate of companies, but of entire industries in Core City, and today they will decide mine. The problems inherited from the previous CEO, the power struggle between factions, constant unforeseen crises. Right, enough of this rumination. I did everything I could. I tried to please everyone while saving the company, and let's hope that all of this meant something in the end. I need to secure at least 3 votes from the 5 directors. That's the only way I can keep the CEO seat. This situation is ambiguous. You had a chance to prove your ambition. The question is, did you use it wisely? Enough wasting time and beating around the bush. Let's make a decision. Begin your report. Presenting. Loading votes. Collected 3 out of 5 votes. Congratulations! You remain as company CEO. Complete chapter 1. Out a gathering over Virtual Dreams. Neither the Coven nor the Syndicate will tolerate their partners trying to collaborate with rivals anymore. The moment of truth arrived. You entered the R&D department and watched on the monitor as representatives from the Coven, the Syndicate, and Florida Legacy logged into Bones and Skulls. All of them were using premium custom skins. Your staff pulled up the login records of all negotiation participants. At that moment, they were all heading to the designated location, a small uninhabited island on the virtual Caribbean Sea. Everything will be decided here and now. An employee looked at you. Disconnect the Syndicate representatives. After half an hour, the Coven began carefully steering the conversation toward the inevitability of the negotiations proceeding and the uniqueness of their offer. Naturally, Florida Legacy agreed to Coven's unparalleled proposal. No one could counter. The Coven now controls the largest security force in Core City. Your observation of the virtual handshakes was interrupted by a video call from Gregory Crane. He was furious, his eyes bloodshot. Who do you think you are, you corporate runt? I played along with you for so long, thought you wouldn't screw up when it mattered, but you. Anyway, listen up. He leaned so close to the camera you could hear his ragged breathing. Go drink some coffee, enjoy the view of the city from the terrace. Good morning! Let's save. And I think I'll leave it there for today. Thank you once again to Keymailer for the free copy of CEO Sim Cyberpunk. See you in the next one, Bright Stars.